I've worked so hard to both build something and build a skill at the same time. And I feel the burnout creeping up because I know that I'm getting more tired quicker. And I also know that I can't pull those late nights anymore because I'm just so tired, and then it impacts on my parenting. So I'm having a bit of a moment, and I was like, probably a good time to record and show a different side of what it feels like to be a founder, to try and build something. I have been so burnt out trying to get everything done, and I feel this huge anxiety because hence why I'm folding clothes, guys, instead of on my computer. I don't exactly know why, but I feel a lot of anxiety around, have I wasted my time? Is this gonna work? And not even wasted my time, have I done all of this? And the thing is, I've worked so hard on this project. And I hear so many things on YouTube of other people that share their journey and whatnot, where they just ship and they say, test your idea and get it out there. And so I've just sort of started that, but it's taken me a couple of months to build Content Flow. And it literally started, it didn't start as that was not my intention. I was looking for something that was had better planning features rather than just a scheduler or a poster. And so that's how I came across it. And I was yep, I'll build it out myself. So it kind of started that way. It didn't really start as a business idea. It would actually started because I was trying to work on another business that I ended up not doing because mental health wise, it just wasn't working for me. So the thing that I do is I will build it out before testing it. So I'm a classic perfectionist who likes to get things out on a grand scale, make sure try to compete with people that I cannot compete with because I don't have the money, I don't have the resources, but that's just in my mind. It is actually an avoidance tactic for me anyways, but it makes us feel such hard workers, doesn't it? Because we just keep going and building and trying to figure it out, or waiting till something's perfect before we send it out. So I suppose now I'm should I have launched this sooner, before I built it out? And really, honestly, guys, the only thing I've really put towards this is time. It hasn't been that expensive to build out, which is, thanks to AI. But at the moment, which is a weird choice, I know. So I'd made this really out of character decision to hire someone so that I can get all the bugs fixed, get some support on it, because I have 3 days a week to try and get this going. And I get mad anxiety when I feel I haven't got things done that I needed to. I don't really know whose timeline I'm on other than my own, but I feel a lot of anxiety when I feel I can't get things done, because then I'm okay, when I have the kids, as in when they're not in childcare. So they're at childcare Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. So basically from Friday all the way to Monday, I can't get anything done unless I do it at night. And at the moment, the burnout is real. I feel I've worked so hard for months, done midnight runs and worked really hard on getting it out, learning Claude code, learning how to take it out of the program I was using. I feel my skills are just I've worked so hard to both build something and build a skill at the same time. And I feel the burnout creeping up because I know that I'm getting more tired quicker. And I also know that I can't pull those late nights anymore because I'm just so tired, and then it impacts on my parenting. And you know what? I know these are fortunate problems to have. So I do recognize that. But nonetheless, this is where I'm at the moment. And I do stress when I feel okay, I'm heading to that, I'm heading to the end of my work week. I need to get as much done as I can. And it's just not fair for me to try and do it with the kids there because it's too hard and they need me, they're still little. So this is something I feel is really important to say on camera, because I think it's a real reflection of, being a parent, trying to create something, perfectionism, anxiety, all that fun stuff of trying to figure out what works. Is it going to work? How does it work? Trying to market and build at the same time, which is why I'm bringing someone else on, because I was I just can't sustain that anymore. It's just never going to get out. I'm never going to be able to test it. And I said to my husband the other day, I'm going to give it 3 months. And if I don't get a user within 3 months, and then, you might hear this and some people might say it took me longer. I don't actually know where I'm going to be with this in 3 months' time, whether I'm still going to be doing it or not. I think I'm just allowing myself that flexibility, because usually in the past I haven't been that flexible. I've actually been more it has to work, I'm gonna make it work. And now I'm kind of in this headspace where I'm if it doesn't work, that's actually okay. I'll just figure something else out and do something else anyways. So I just wanted to talk about that for this week, because I think having a really accurate representation of what it feels like to work as to try and create a startup as a parent, exhausting, guys, at the moment. And it's a choice, right? No one's forcing me to do this. No one's saying you have to do it. And that's the worst part because, not the worst part, but the most honest part is like, I just want to do it. I don't know why I do this. I just want to build something. I want to build something of my own. I want to have my own business. I want to do this for myself. So yeah, that's this week's Burnout Meltdown vibes. So we're doing final interviews for hiring today, guys. We've got 2 people that we have found that we're going to interview, that we're going to talk to see, and can I be honest with you? I feel like when I look at their resumes, I'm like, yeah, okay. I feel like skill is one thing, but I always say to my husband, you can always learn skills. Personality is just like so much more concrete than skills. So I'm always, when I look at things, I always look at the person, how they show up, how I can talk to them. And that's what this interview is really about. Just like talking to them, seeing like how we communicate, what they expect from me, how they would handle things. I'm more concerned about that because right now I'm spending all my time working on the software myself, like using it to post and then finding a bug and fixing it, using it, finding a bug and fixing it. And like, I actually don't have time because I'm not getting enough posting out. So this is why we're hiring someone. After lots of meltdowns last week, we finally decided it's time to bring someone else on board. Like we really just soft launched. We haven't done like a hard launch. And so it's there, it's out, which has also caused anxiety because I don't know, just launching something is scary, right? Don't you just get that idea, like, what if everyone hates it? What if no one likes it? What if no one uses it? What if it's, I don't know. But that's my mind at the moment. It's busy. And so I'm really looking forward to having these interviews, getting a bit more help on the tech side of things and finding someone who can really help me with that. So yeah, let's see who we choose, guys. We have 2 people. I won't use their names, just, for privacy reasons. But let's see, one has less experience than the other. And here's the tricky part. I feel like the person with more experience, personality-wise, might not be a match versus the other person who has less experience. Sounds, from the first interview, more organized, and I think I would probably, personality-wise, be a better fit with him and him with me. So let's see how this goes. I will have an answer for you at the end of this video of who we decide to choose. But you know what? Let's just give them a name. We're gonna call Bob the one that's got the experience and Joe the one that has less experience. But Joe is the one that we get along with more and Bob is the one that we're not 100% on. So Bob and Joe, guys, let's see. Hi. So I'll just give you a bit more context. I'm Julia. I created some software using Claude code myself. Basically what it is it's a system that helps people to manage content from the beginning to the end. That's basically it. It's quite like a decent project in a nutshell, but that's what I've worked on because I use it myself. So everything's basically created from a process of where I'm at and what I'm doing. And I will give you a chance to speak and ask you questions, but in terms of the expectations of the project, there's a couple of things. So the code base probably needs a good cleanup because I've done this all myself using Claude code. The issue I'm coming across particularly at the moment is as I'm using it, bugs are coming up and I find myself spending most time on Claude code fixing bugs. Right now I'm fixing the notifications because it didn't work properly. So that's the project. I've given you a lot of information there in one go. Interviews are done, guys, and it was really interesting. So I feel like when it comes to business at the moment, I know this is probably odd to say, but I don't know, but I feel like I'm trying to lean more into that intuition of how I'm feeling, what I'm thinking. So I was reading Steve Jobs' book, biography, and it was really interesting because he spoke about when he lived in India that they had a different way of making decisions, that it was more intuitive based. And I was kind of intrigued by that, by him talking about it, and honestly intrigued by his story as a whole. So I've really been focusing on, learning what I can from that. And I think a couple of other, one particular thing I noticed was, how he was really surrounded by great people. When I was doing the interviews today, the thing I tried to keep in mind was it's really important, I think, and something I'm realizing, to have great people around, to be willing to build a team that, I always think of that quote, you shouldn't be the smartest person in the room. And that's something I feel is really important. And the thing I had these 2 candidates. The biggest thing I think was one definitely displayed more seniority than the other. And I think that's the people that I was speaking to, the people, VA mate, that helped me to find the team or the team members that I look for, they particularly mentioned that this person had more seniority, sort of saying this might be more challenging in terms of leading someone who has that seniority over me, both in skill and age as well. And I was like, yeah, I hear what you're saying. And then there was like another candidate who was great, lovely personality. We really got along, younger. Not that that's a thing, right? It's not about the age. I think it was just about the approach. Actually, do you know what it was about? It was about the initiative. I felt like one person approached with more initiative. They had more like initiative to ask me questions, to mention things that could be changed, whereas the other person felt like they were waiting for me to come to them with solutions. And that's not to say that I think that, you know, everybody's different. And I honestly, if I had the funds, I could see a place for both of them, but I don't, and I have to make that choice. And so I really decided, and I'm leaning towards the person who I feel like took the most initiative, who asked me questions, who is gonna push back on me a bit more, who's way more intelligent than me. The skill set was great. I feel odd saying that. Not to say that the other person wasn't. I just felt like the other person was gonna push back on me a bit more, and I needed that. He said something really interesting about, you know, wanting things to be practical, but wanting things to also be great. And I was like, yes, that's exactly what I need. I need someone who is going to be willing to really build this with me, which means honesty, which means pushing back, which means taking initiative, which means really, you know, helping me to build this out in a way that's really great. So I've already made this decision really, and the way I'm thinking about it too is, you know, if it doesn't work, it doesn't work, that's fine. I think I'm learning that I don't want to be, and I am not, but when I'm building a team, I recognize that it's important to have, you know, people that know way more about things than I do. And I don't find that intimidating because I think great things are built with great collective ideas. So yeah, that's what I'm thinking at the moment. But honestly, guys, the anxiety is lifting. I feel heaps better. I think it was, you know what, I can't even remember the name we gave. Was it Bob? I think Bob's the way to go. No, I can't remember the names. But interestingly enough, this person on paper looked like they had less experience. But when I heard them speak, I was like, your problem solving is solid. Like, your way of thinking is something that I feel like I could really lean into and learn from and really build with. So that's what I'm going with. I'll keep you posted on how it goes. I'm really interested to see. And I'm gonna be honest, guys, female, tech, small company, I feel like I have a lot of reasons to possibly be intimidated by this experience, but I'm also leaning into the idea that, I don't know, this idea of like, I can do this. This is my idea. In a sense, like, I can work with this, I can figure it out. I can learn to lead, I can learn to collaborate, I can learn to work with great people, and I'm really excited to have someone to talk to about the tech side of things because it's been a little bit lonely on that front. So let's see, I'll keep you posted. But as always, if female in tech, let me know. If you're a mum in tech, if you're building, keep me posted. I would love to know your journey as well. And yeah, let's see how the next video goes, next episode.